أهلا بضيف الأردن الكبير قداسة البابا فرانسيس الحبر الأعظم.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Jordan, the land of peace and Muslim-Christian harmony and home of prophets and saints, is where Pope Francis opted to begin his pilgrimage to the Holy Land, the fourth papal visit to Jordan in 50 years. Upon invitation by His Majesty King Abdullah, Pope Francis arrived in Amman this morning, accompanied by a pontifical delegation of senior Catholic Church and Vatican officials. Pope Francis was received at Queen Alia International Airport by His Royal Highness Prince Ghazi ibn Muhammad, advisor to His Majesty the King for Cultural and Religious Affairs, Amman Mayor Aqil Biltaji, as well as religious leaders and senior civil and military officials. In a papal first, the Pope is accompanied on the visit with Rabbi Abraham Skorka and Sheikh Omar Aboud, marking the first time an official papal delegation has included members of other faiths. Upon arrival at Al Husseiniya Palace, the army band played the pontifical and national anthems, where King Abdullah, Queen Rania, the Crown Prince and other royal family members led a welcoming ceremony before His Majesty and the Pope held a private meeting. During a welcoming ceremony for the Pope at Al Husseiniya Palace, attended by government officials, Muslim and Christian leaders and members of the diplomatic corps, His Majesty said it is a special honor that Pope Francis's pilgrimage to the Holy Land begins here in Jordan, the land of faith, land of fellowship. As the world faces global challenges, King Abdullah said, not least the cost of sectarian and inter-religious conflict, the joint voices of Jordan and the Vatican can bring understanding and goodwill, and where lives have been shattered by injustice and violence, their united efforts can help bring healing and hope. King Abdullah described Pope Francis as the conscience for the world and said Muslims everywhere appreciate his messages of esteem and friendship. Common ground is where the next steps for all humanities must begin, he said. Here are excerpts of His Majesty's welcoming remarks.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Yet they are not all alike. Some of the people of the scripture are a community upright, who recites God's verses in the watches of the night, prostrating themselves. They believe in God and in the last day, enjoining decency and forbidding indecency, vying with one another in good works. Those are of the righteous. Your Holiness, on behalf of all Jordanians, welcome. It is a special honor that your pilgrimage to the Holy Land begins here in Jordan, land of faith, land of fellowship. Here today, Muslims and Christians are building a shared future on the common ground of mutual respect, peace, and devotion after God. Your Holiness, common ground is where the next steps for all humanity must begin. Since becoming pontiff, you have reminded us in word and in deed that pontiff means bridge builder. And Jordanians too are building bridges. Our works include concrete and tangible actions over many years. Your Holiness, as the 41st descendant of the Prophet Muhammad, alayhi salatu wassalam, I have sought to uphold the true spirit of Islam, the Islam of peace. My Hashemite duty extends to protecting the holy sites of Christians and Muslims in Jordan and in Jerusalem. As custodian, I am committed to safeguarding the holy city as a place of worship for all, and God willing, a safe home for all communities, for all generations. Your Holiness, in the days ahead, may we continue to work together to strengthen, accord, and meet challenges. Your humanity and wisdom can make a special contribution to easing the crisis of Syrian refugees and the burden on neighboring host countries like Jordan. We must help Syria regain its future, end the bloodshed, and find a peaceful political solution. Your actions and support also continue to be needed to help Palestinians and Israelis resolve their long conflict. The status quo of justice denied to the Palestinians, fear of the other, fear of change, these are the way to mutual ruin, not mutual respect. Together we can help leaders on both sides take the courageous steps needed for peace, justice, and coexistence. Your Holiness, you begin your Holy Land pilgrimage with a warm friendship and sincere respect of all Jordanians. May your work be fruitful and bring peace, for blessed are the peacemakers. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
His Holiness Pope Francis expressed gratitude for this opportunity to visit the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan, following the footsteps of his predecessors, Pope Paul VI, St. Pope John Paul II, and Pope Benedict XVI. He also extended his greetings to the people of Jordan, to the land so rich in history and with great religious significance for Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. In his remarks, Pope Francis commended Jordan's generosity in welcoming great numbers of Palestinian, Iraqi, and Syrian refugees, as well as others from troubled areas, saying that such generosity merits the appreciation and support of the international community. And while acknowledging the continuing grave tensions in the Middle East, His Holiness thanked the Jordanian leadership for efforts to seek lasting peace for the entire region.
Her Majesty, Eccellenze, cari fratelli vescovi, cari amici, ringrazio Dio di poter visitare il regno hascemita di Giordania sulle orme di miei predecessori Paolo VI, Giovanni Paolo II e Benedetto XVI. Ringrazio Sua Maestà, il Re Abdullah II, per le sue cordiali parole di benvenuto nel vivo ricordo del recente incontro in Vaticano. Estendo il mio saluto ai membri della famiglia
community and my appreciation for the leadership of His Majesty the King in promoting a better understanding of virtues taught by Islam and a climate of sincere coexistence between the faithful of the different religions. I'm grateful that Jordan has supported a number of important initiatives aimed at advancing interreligious dialogue and understanding between Jews, Christians, and Muslims. I think in particular of the Amman message and the support given within the United Nations organizations to the annual celebration of World Interfaith Harmony Week. I would also like to offer an affectionate greeting to the Christian communities present in this country since apostolic times, contributing to the common good of society of which they are fully a part. Although Christians today are numerically a minority, theirs is a significant and valued presence in the fields of education and healthcare. Thanks to their schools and hospitals, they are able to profess their faith peacefully in a climate of respect for religious freedom. Religious freedom is in fact a fundamental human right, and I cannot fail to express my hope that it will be upheld throughout the Middle East and the entire world. The right of religious freedom includes, on the individual and collective levels, the freedom to follow one's conscience in religious matters, and at the same time freedom of worship. It also includes the freedom to choose the religion which one judges to be true and to manifest one's beliefs in public. Christians consider themselves and indeed are full citizens, and as such they seek, together with their Muslim fellow citizens, to make their own particular contribution to the society in which they live. Finally, I cordially invoke peace and prosperity upon the Kingdom of Jordan and
a historic visit by Pope Francis to a region that has been inflicted with turmoil, unrest and instability. Jordan is placed in the midst of all that, but the social harmony and unity of all its people, Muslims and Christians alike, and the wise leadership of the Hashemites has set a model and a story of an exceptional success. This is why Jordan has attracted leaders of the Catholic Church for 50 years now. Pope Paul VI in 1964, the first official papal visit to a Muslim country, St. John Paul II and Pope Benedict XVI. King Abdullah is spearheading this success story. 2004, His Majesty issued the Amman message, reaffirming Islam's call for universal harmony and justice, and clearly rejecting the false claims of those who spread hatred. Jordan is also home to a common word, a 2007 initiative by King Abdullah that reflects the two great commandments of Islam and Christianity alike, to love God and love one's neighbor. Jordan's efforts to promote interfaith dialogue were crowned with the UN recognition of an annual World Interfaith Harmony Week in 2010. And last year, Jordan convened a historic regional conference on the challenges facing Arab Christians who form an integral part of the Middle East. Today, Pope Francis's pilgrimage reiterates and reinforces values of tolerance, harmony and mercy. Celebrating a Mass at Amman International Stadium under a canopy in the Vatican's yellow and white colors, the Pope told the faithful, "Your future lies in unity and solidarity." The Mass was attended by 30,000 people and 115 priests. Spiritual moments for the faithful. Voices rise and supplicate to God. Pope Francis later headed to the baptism site, the place where John baptized Jesus Christ. The site is one of 5 major milestones in the gospel narrative of the life of Jesus. Pope Francis did not forget the most vulnerable people, devoting some time to meet with and speak to Iraqi and Syrian refugees, as well as people with disabilities. The historic visit that brought King Abdullah, the 41st descendant of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, and the head of the Catholic Church, embodies a united stance, one that calls for peace, harmony, mercy, coexistence, and much more. Ra'ad Al-Tush for the news at 10.
And just a while ago, a news conference took place in the media center at the Royal Cultural Center, wrapping up the Pope's visit to Jordan. Father Rifat Badr, director of the Vatican's media center in Amman, and Vatican spokesperson Reverend Federico Lombardi addressed journalists' questions. Earlier, State Minister for Media Affairs Mohammed Al-Momani spoke with the press, reiterating Jordan's efforts and success in promoting the values of tolerance and moderation. Ministers of Foreign Affairs Nasser Joudeh and the Interior Hussein Al-Majali also addressed the news conference, highlighting the significance of the papal visit to Jordan and the status the kingdom enjoys in the world arena as an oasis of peace and security. Tomorrow morning, Pope Francis departs Jordan to head to the West Bank in Israel, where he will meet with Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas and Israeli President and Prime Minister. In Bethlehem, Pope Francis will meet children from refugee camps, celebrate Mass in Manger Square, lunch with Palestinian families, and visit the site of Jesus' birth. In Jerusalem, the Pontiff will meet the city's Grand Mufti and Chief Rabbis. His Holiness is expected to call for a Palestinian state, which has long been Vatican policy. And before we close, happy Independence Day to Jordan, as the country celebrates tomorrow its 68th independence anniversary, which marks the end of the British mandate over Jordan in 1946. All ministries, public departments and institutions will be closed on the occasion. And with this, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of this special bulletin. Thank you for watching, thank you for joining us, and have a pleasant evening.